Next up, Jalen Royals, Utah State wide receiver, 6 foot, 205 pounds, 9.5-inch hands. He's 22. He just turned 22 in February. He ran a 4.42 in the 40, a 1.49 10-yard split. Whoo, man, that's moving. He bench pressed 13 bench press reps. Amazing. Somebody actually bench pressed. I think he was the only one.
He was like, I can do better than most of these guys. I'll just do it for fun.
I can do one and do more than anyone else.
Yeah.
7 games last year. He had 55 receptions, 834 yards receiving, and 6 touchdowns. And he had 81 targets. So in only 7 games, 81 targets. So pretty good.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You said it's 40, right?
4.42, and then we all whistled.
Yeah. He's got 9.5-inch hands, too. So he's got big hands. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy screams athlete.
It was a foot injury, I believe, that shortened his season.
Big hands, screams
and
athlete.
He's obviously dude, my hands are 9 5/8.
I got 10s.
Or maybe it was 9 7/8. It was something like that.
And you got recruited to play quarterback.
But I must be a hell of an athlete. That's all I got to say on Rich's scale.
I keep swearing. Sorry.
Yeah, so Jalen Royals is somebody who, honestly, I didn't really know anything about whatsoever. And I came away pretty impressed. I thought he was a very crafty receiver. I thought he was very aware of defenders where he was. I thought he had very subtle moves that just weaved into his routes. I thought he was a zone killer. I thought he did really well against zone. I thought he had really good body control. I saw many times where he actually, he's a hands catcher, plucking the ball away from his body many times.
Oh, that catch against Utah down the sideline.
Oh, dude,
the one-handed one,
dude, thing of beauty. Man.
I didn't think he caught it. I had to rewind it like 4 times. I was like,
wait, which one?
That? The one against Utah.
I think I thought he missed that one also.
No, he caught that.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to rewind it like 4 times, and then I saw where they were lined up on the next play. I was like, oh, he did catch it.
Yeah, to make sure go back. I did that many times. You hit the rewind, go back 5 seconds, go back 5 seconds. Like, did he catch it?
I do that all the time.
I had to go watch some broadcast angles of it. Some of the players, wide receivers mainly.
I mean, dude, this guy fights for space like it's the old days on a Black Friday at Best Buy. I mean, he'll work back towards the QB with his aggression. I mean, underneath he's a gear, like he just gets it done. Like he's a solid receiver and he's got the strength to get it done. I mean, if you're looking for a solid possession receiver, like he's right up your alley as well. But he's got the speed and athleticism to really get it done. Came away very impressed. If you're going to look at some negatives on here, I mean, he's got a small resume. Doesn't have a lot on film. He's got the injuries. He's got the foot injury, so that's going to be somewhat of concern as well. So how does his health come back? Looking for him there. But he's not. Again, he's going to be more of a possession receiver than a deep receiver. But overall,
do you see, on that note, do you see him outside?
I think he can do both.
I think he could do either. I would love him in the slot.
I think I would love him in the slot.
Yeah.
But I think he could do either.
That's what he did, the outside.
Yes, and he was mostly left receiver X guy.
Yeah, and he was growing in the amount of slot stuff that he did, every single year doing kind of more, and he ended up being 20% or 21% in the slot this past season. For me, I feel like he could excel in the slot. I feel like that's if I was drafting him in the NFL, that's where I would want him to end up.
He's a Golden Tate type. Yeah. He's the Debo Samuel type.
He breaks tackles a lot.
I mean, he's 205 pounds at 6 foot.
Right.
Like he's built like LaQuint Allen. They're basically the identical size.
They are.
But he's playing receiver. I did not actually have everything on my sheet for him was actually above average.
Yeah.
Lots of 7s, lots of 7.5s. Like, I really liked his releases off the line. I think he varied them.
I think he varied his tempo of all his routes really well. I liked a lot of what I saw.
Was a killer with the crossing routes and the posts. Yeah. Like, because when he got ahead of steam too, he was really tough to bring down. Yeah. And I really liked seeing him against Utah because they play press man so much. So I love it when teams play Utah because I really get to see what is this going to look like at the next level. They tend to have pretty good corners and they do a lot of press man.
That's how Pitt used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. With Revis and stuff back in the day. But watching him, he didn't have like an amazing game against Utah. He had a good game against Utah, but that was the game where he had the nice, like, fought through contact to make the one-handed catch, like was able to get open. He was another guy that was hampered a little bit by his quarterback play. There were definitely times where you're like, where was that pass? Like, what? So he's definitely hampered by not great quarterback play, but Royals really shot up my board. 75.28 for him. So he ended up with a really nice score for me. And I see him as kind of one of those hybrid players because of his build and his ability. But I think he's enough of a standalone polished receiver that he doesn't have to be typecast into that role, which is really nice because it's usually like he's like this gadget, like running back. Like he could be that guy if the team wants him to be that. But if you say, no, I just want you to line up on the outside and do your thing, like I think he can do that as well. So that's the nice part is there's a lot of different fits for Royals that I really like. I think he's going to go fairly high in the NFL draft. I think he's easily a day 2 guy. I think he might be a second rounder.
He's a physical receiver. I think like when Rasheed Rice and Jaden Reed went high.
Yeah.
I was going to say same thing. Jaden Reed. I feel like he's kind of like a Jaden Reed-ish guy, but
maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe a little bit bigger of a guy. Yeah. So, and more sudden. I don't know. There's some suddenness in his route.
I really liked him.
That I really, really like. And visually, that's one of those things that sometimes I have a hard time quantifying into words, but you see it and you know immediately, like, yes, that translates. What he's doing translates in the NFL and separating and just there's certain leverage points and deception that you need to have as a wide receiver, and he's got that kind of stuff.
The numbers he put up in 7 games too, over 800 yards in 7 games. Like I get it, it's Utah State. It's not like, but they played some pretty good teams on that schedule as well. So it's not
he's
like
got better hands than Jaden Reed.
I think so too.
I had Jaden Reed as a comp too. That's funny.
So he's a very, and it goes back to what I said before. Like he got me. I said I watched a Ted McMillan film. I'm like, oh okay, this guy's the number 1 guy. I'm like, oh okay, I hope he's not the number 1 guy.
And there couldn't be like 2 different, like more different wide receiver types.
Oh yeah, it's very different
than a Ted McMillan.
But then you go to Tez Johnson and you know the name and you watch his tape and you're like, this is I'm done after a game. Like I don't need to see any more, kind of thing. So you're like, okay, this really is gonna be a bad receiver class. And then boom, I go right in the Jalen Royals and I'm like, well, hold up, I don't even know who this guy is.
We're back, baby.
It gets me. It got me more excited about like the receivers. Like I really am now looking forward to like all these other guys because I know I had a little next week. Like I was watching some Jack Beck film at TCU, and I was like, "Wow, this guy looks really good."
I can't wait to watch him because I've heard so much good stuff about him.
He started as a tight end,
like to the point I was like,
LSU.
I was like, do I like Jack
started
Beck
as a
more
tight
than
end
Ted McMillan?
At LSU, yeah.
Oh wow!
I know that he was there at LSU, but I thought he was wide receiver.
It was like a hybrid.
I haven't watched him yet.
No deep dive, but I literally was like, dude, do I like Jack Beck more than Ted McMillan? Like just like dude, like
I mean, he was the Senior Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing but amazing stuff about him, and I can't wait.
I'm just gonna say that, you know what I mean? But like that's what Jalen Royals got me excited about. So for me, Jalen Royals, like, I was like, dude, this guy's like a 2nd round rookie pick for me. Like wherever he's let me put it this way. For how deep the running back class is, I'm like, man, I might be able to like snag this guy up into like the late.
It makes
second.
it easier to justify taking early running backs.
Yeah.
Because like, is there a huge difference between this guy and some of the other receivers? No.
And there's probably a good chance, like, because how deep the running back class is, the tight ends, everything. I could probably get Jalen Royals at the top of the 3rd.
Yeah, you honestly might be able to when it's all said and done. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. He might get the NFL, but even and I go back to it's like when Rasheed Rice and Jaden Reed went in the 2nd round. And they got that kind of bump for the obviously
everything goes up, right?
Green Bay, they still went like either very late 2nd or early 3rd, and that class wasn't as deep as like this class. So, really like his tape, really solid player, and I'm glad like we're all on board, we're all on the same page. I texted Jared, I was like, dude, because we were texting earlier, I was like, man, I really like this Royals kid, and he's like, yeah, me and Garrett like him too, and I'm like, oh, nice, like I'm ahead,
yeah, team.
Did you guys see he's the Senior Bowl Offensive Player of the Week and the Shrine Bowl Offensive Player of the Week?
I didn't realize he played at the Shrine Bowl too.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if I didn't know if that was correct. I tried to like fact check it, and
shows that kid's hungry though. He's like, bro, I'll go from one game to the next. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
so I thought that spoke. I was like, okay, that's
he probably wanted to show scouts because he missed some time at the end of the year. Like, show him I'm healthy. I'm good to go. Like
that was good to see. Is both like Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
So Jalen Royals, Utah State, 4 for 4. We all like his game. Right now he'd be my wide receiver too.
At this moment, yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
And not as big of a gap as I would have thought.